there's not much more to say other than what I'm just going to get straight to it. If you aren't a real tech, or maybe this is your first rodeo, ask for professional help. Ask around before you do modifications. I was looking at the hop up here, and when I put this thing together quickly, one thing to assume is that so much was not done right off the beginning. But at the same time, if I don't notice that these things are done wrong, then what it does is it takes more of my time to fix what is wrong. And quite frankly, what I've noticed just kind of makes me go, really? Here's my hop-up chamber. Here's my air nozzle. First glance, you're not really paying attention. Put everything together, everything seems fine. But then when you look at it this way, what seems fine about that? I could argue, oh, it's hitting a metal chamber. Is that what makes it discolored? What makes it discolored is sanding it down. Okay? Other than that, if this material is terrible, just about everything was, did not go to this gun. All these things are Frankenstein parts put together. This is not the same as this, which is the same air nozzle. Under close look at, there's material removed. And obviously where it's gray, it's sanded. It's removed. This is an air loss problem with your hop-up chamber. So definitely in the chronograph, this is just not going to be very consistent at all either way. I never really suggest doing this file down. I really don't believe that this could happen without filing it down, because we've got about, it looks like a millimeter gone. A whole millimeter is gone off the top of this. And if you can't get it to feed properly, you take other steps. I usually do not suggest feeding down or filing down, sanding down the air nozzle, because in this situation where I'm trying to chronograph it, this makes a huge difference. Alright, if I have to take my time for every single little thing, it takes me, I've already put in 15 hours on this gun. And no joke, I mean, from cleaning the glue, from cleaning the black specks out of this thing without no grease. This just things you are, how do I say, what's the best way to say? There's no other way to go about it. If you don't know what you're doing, ask somebody. Look at my videos. Get more information. I think too many people just buy parts, put it together, and assume it's going to be flawless. That's not how it works. Modification's done, but when you modify something, you usually make it so that it doesn't work for something else. So when I'm making a hair trigger mod for a G36, it may not work in a different type of body. So these things need to be said, but maybe this is forgotten. This video is basically telling you, and I don't mean just one person, I mean everybody that does buy parts and goes to Brill Armory, goes to any of the other stores, Evic or whatever you want to call it, Evike, Airsoft GI, all these stores. You buy your parts and you can't install them because it takes advanced installation in some cases. And if you need to do it, you need help with it. You shouldn't just go ahead and try to do it yourself without knowing how to do it. If you watch the videos, you get a little bit of experience, but you should always ask for help. This is something that should have been done probably before, I want to say before I got into it, because there was so much time that had to be reused to get this working. And it's not even 100% working right now. I mean, I've got to take the motor out, I've got to clean that, but the air nozzle alone is just making me shake my head more when I look at this. this definitely looks like this was totally sanded down. So I just wanted to say, you know, don't just buy parts and assume that putting it together, these things are going to have mesh issues. Modifying these things is just going to only spec to what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. That's simply it. I never suggest the air nozzle modification like this unless it's really a last resort. And now, in this case, you're going to have to probably get a new nozzle. There's no other way around it. You may ask, well, can't I just push the bucking more forward? Can't I just modify the hop-up chamber? No. These things that you do affect everything in the gun. So the whole body may need to be positioned differently. You may not be able to get to the hop-up chamber. You know, this is a millimeter difference modification, but still, there's still going to be differences in the gun, and it's just more work. It doesn't make sense. What if this isn't completely straight, you know, and I have to work with that on this because it doesn't seal very well, or the new hop-up chamber may not seal well. So think about what you're doing before you do it. Ask a professional, ask somebody, you know, get more than one opinion. I would definitely get a lot of opinions before you do something. Sometimes I hit the forums and there is somebody just posts something and they quickly do what that person says. You need to get multiple opinions and know from your sources where you get that. So the work on this is going to have to probably get a new air nozzle because, you know, the new hop-up chamber, maybe it might somewhat, but I've always found that when you do this, this is not completely straight. It doesn't sometimes give a very good seal. And it's going to depend on your bucking and the distance and the lips, the way they seal to this. This has more of the space allowed for the lips to conform to. This does not. This is more straight, more stop. Shouldn't say more stop. It's just not really there. There's not much there. So all the air nozzles I have, they have this much bigger curvature to it. Okay, it's not going to be not there. That's what this problem is here. It's just not there. There's nothing else to say about this. It's just going to be work, more time, more testing. So I cannot validate that the chrono test is 290 in here because, you know, this could be more than 290. This could still be in the 300 and something looking at this. But as for this video saying, if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Ask, get opinions. If you're buying parts, know from this point it is usually an advanced installation because a lot of these parts in here do not go to this gun and they were modified. Tab plate, cutoff lever, you name it, it's been modified. Trigger house, selector plate, selector areas in here that had to be cut down. Just all kinds of parts on the inside. There had to be drummeling to the gearbox. There's just multiple things that have to be done in this case. And I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that right now there is no issue. But when you move over to safety, see, this is just another little thing that I find. It rubs against the where I soldered the wires together here, and that's removing my protection from the exposure here. And because of that, you know, it's almost touching the gearbox, so I'm going to have to grind some more of the gearbox away. Just that's not possible, and this can you know, bypass without touching the gearbox. Because I don't want a short to happen. This doesn't have a fuse. There's just many little things. So I just thought I would go ahead and say that. And there was even modification to get a screw and a piece back here just to make sure that to make sure that the spring guide was completely straight and will not move. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff done to this already, and there'll probably be a few more hours, 5 hours, 10 hours from this point. I can't put that all in one day. It's just not possible. I mean, spending a couple hours every day diagnosing something little, something this, just to get it perfect. I mean, that's the only way to get close enough to perfect.